Hey guys, just want to do a follow-up video from last night. Some new props released, some new value to be had. Just go right into it. Just to look at how the prices have moved in the Calvin Kattar Arnold Allen fight. I was saying to bet that plus 110 on Allen scorecards. No action. You can see it's moved to minus 105. And we have props now on a variety of sites, and all of them consistent with the 5 dimes one, including Unibet and DraftKings, which have opened their scorecards no action at plus 110, plus 112 on Calvin Kattar, and on DraftKings it's sitting at plus 110. So we got plus 110 on the other side, and they're both given around minus 150. Definitely showing to be way beating the market, and not surprisingly considering their histories. The other one has not yet moved, but we do see that the inside the distant prices on these two sites, on Bet365 and Betway, are fairly consistent with what we saw in 5 dimes. And again, that 155 is, I think, probably, wrong fight. Yeah, the 155 here. It's probably good value. I don't think you're going to regret it. It's going to move. And when we see DraftKings open up their prices, which they should at some point today, we're likely going to see this at around like plus 125, and maybe this side at minus 140, minus 145, something like that. You're going to be able to use it as a tool to make a pure arb if you want, or just keep it as a good value line. The over-unders on the Freemed Gore fight looks pretty bad in my estimation, or it did here. It's at minus 225. It got bid up. But we also have now under 2.5 at minus 125 here, and on Bodog also minus 125. This was one of the earlier ones to open up those prices. Not so great of an opportunity now, but before, when it was 195 last night, you could have taken the 195 and then the under 2.5 and just be sweating that it doesn't finish in the last 2.5 minutes for a nice little value in between. But that's mostly gone now. Nothing else that stands out there. Some fights, actually the very big ones, very big lines that are off by a lot. We're going to go all the way down to PFL, and this was one that I was recommending earlier, and it is the Aspen Ladd Julia Budd. I was saying Julia Budd at 190. It is now down to 175, and probably the reason why, I don't think that it's just people who are casually betting. If you see here on 5 dimes and on Betway, if we refresh, released Aspen Ladd at plus 200, and actually 5 dimes also released her at plus 200. It's been bid down aggressively. I think probably because people are arbing between these two sites, and there still is an arb available. The Betline price is unfortunately not available. They've pulled it since. But between these two, I do think the Julia Budd line is still better at plus 175, but I wouldn't fault anyone for buying both of these. I definitely got a little bit of value when it was around plus 190. That's got to be what, a 50%, 50. It's more than a 50% R. It's huge. I mean, it's just such a massive discrepancy between how they priced it, and I don't think it was an accident. I think 5 dimes used, their handicappers were using their best guess at what they thought it should be priced at, and I think they just thought that Aspen Ladd should be the dog, which I kind of agree with. I think that Aspen Ladd should be a dog going into this, and if we look at Julia Budd's history, I didn't go into too much detail, but if you look at how she has been lined relative to the competition, she's been a big favorite against almost everybody. And granted, these like some of these girls are not on the level of Aspen Ladd, but some of them definitely are. Like Arlene Blancow, not top level talent. I mean, maybe top level, near the top of Bellator, but I think definitely at least on the level of an Aspen Ladd. I mean, the only reason why we would maybe think that this is not a better measure of what we should be seeing is because Julia Budd's a little bit older, but she's not that old yet. The only girl, the only fighter that Julia Budd wasn't a big favorite over in the past like 10 years has been Cyborg, where she was a big dog, and that includes fights, all the way back. She was a favorite against Amanda Nunes quite early on. Not that anybody knew anything about Nunes back then. She's a dog to some of the biggest, Ronda Rousey, Jermaine Durand. I mean, she was actually fighting the big names, before women's MMA became a big thing. And she is a little bit older, but I don't think she's lost all that much. It's the featherweight division. It's kind of like, the equivalent of the men's heavyweight division. It's like you can be fighting there when you're older because the level of talent is just way, way lower. Just not many people who are competing at it. And I don't think Aspen Ladd really stands out as being all that much of a talent. I do think she was getting by on her size. And Julia Budd's going to be the much bigger fighter here. She's 5'8", and she is, shredded when she's coming to the fights. Whereas Aspen Ladd, she does, she looks sucked out. She doesn't look like she's carrying all that much extra body fat. But if you were to compare the two in their physiques, you clearly see that Julia Budd's the much bigger girl. And she's going to be cutting to get to 155, where I don't think Aspen Ladd is probably going to be cutting to get 155. She couldn't make 135, but those 20 pounds is a big difference. Anyways, also, broken line on boxing, and this one's been out there for a while. I figure you guys might as well get in on the action. The Lomachenko-Ortiz boxing match, fight goes to decision plus 158 on FanDuel, is way off market. I mean, we see here on Unibet, you get plus 103, fight doesn't go to decision. I mean, that's a big arb right there. It's like a 10 to 12%er. Bet online, they actually don't have this price here, but they do have the under 10.5. I'm not sure why that's listed. It's not available on the website. There are a couple of other smaller sites that have it lined around even. On the fight doesn't go to decision, fight goes to decision. The cap here is, for me, was about 300. So it's not like you're going to be able to you're not going to be able to mint money off this one. But definitely just stick the money on there. Honestly, I think this at 158 is the good side of the bet. If we look at the history of Lomachenko, he has not been all that potent of a finisher. He's a small guy, and Jermaine Ortiz never been finished. A lot of the people that Lomachenko's going to decision to are guys who have been finished in the past by lesser competition, but Lomachenko's just not really the kind of guy to go out and starch people. Obviously, could finish. It's just I think this is clearly the better side of the better side of the bet. So I'll keep you updated. We're expecting that the DraftKings lines are going to drop for all the other fights. They've just come out for the main and the co-main so far. FanDuel usually comes out later in the week, and Unibet is going to be close to follow because they also have them out on the main and the co. Other than that, hit the subscribe button if you liked it. Press the like button. We're going to be getting these out as quick as possible. I don't want there to be any delay between when the prices are coming out and when you guys are going to be hearing about them. Thanks for watching.